Hey, it's almost every day I find a new way to screw up the intro. I'm Dominic D'Angelo. It's Rumor and Innuendo, and I am of adfreeshows.com, SEScoops.com, Podcast Heats Wrestling, and I'm with Mr. Robert Karpelis, WD creative underscore ish. He's a former WD writer. Robert, how are you?
I'm great. Yeah, we're sitting there. We were logged in way earlier than normal. It was like 5 minutes before the show starts. We're having a conversation. All of a sudden, Dom goes, "Hey, how come I can't see everything I set up?" And then he realized he sent us a link to the wrong room. So you know those nightmares where you're in school and you're in your underwear and you didn't study for the test. Kind of that feeling. But
Yes.
happy to be here. We don't have at least I don't have a hell of a lot of time. I'm only able to join for the first 15 minutes of this show, but Dom will be here for the full 30. But let's say hi to the folks joining us here. Wanna Breeze says, hello, R&I. With both Nikki Bella and LA Knight being murdered last night, it's almost like Robert was back on creative. Yeah, it was a little bit of where's my monkey's paw?
Yes. That was a great
I'm
Robert.
not taking credit for that episode of Raw, by the way. That was
Yes.
I don't know. There, some people have gone on vacation early, and I think they're hitting the eggnog a little quicker than normal. This is not eggnog. This is a delicious cup of black coffee. Wrestling Old Head says, "Good after morning, R&I. Gunther can't see you, and LA Knight went to the ICU." Good.
Very
I got to
nice.
pre-read this.
I like it, Robert. The creative minds in the chat.
And then he asked, "Did LA Knight get ricocheted last night?" Well, for a $1.05, and Cammy Star throwing in a quick, "Damn it, Dom."
Man, there's a lot of damn it Doms going around lately.
As you're banging a table that's way louder than you are.
Really?
Thank you. Yes. Oh, it was your coffee. Well, I don't know what, like, are there like nails in there?
No, it's almost empty.
Dude, that is the loud. It's like a Foley artist on like an old timey murder mystery. Like that was like the rap at the door during the storm before Sherlock Holmes comes in, which reminds me, the new Knives Out comes out this weekend, I believe.
Ooh, yes.
On Netflix. I still have to watch Jay Kelly. That is my big go-to. I am a Noah Baumbach mark.
Oh,
he is a top 5 for me. It's Sorkin's 1, Mamet's 2, Woody Allen's 3. Baumbach might be 4th.
Do you just mean as screenplay rights or
screenwriter? Yes, in terms of screenwriting, yes.
Okay. Wow, how about that? Yeah, that's a pretty good lineup though.
It's a pretty solid lineup, and for a long time, as a young man, Kevin Smith was up there as top 5er.
Yeah, Kevin. Oh man, did you like Jersey Girl?
Really like Clerks and Mallrats, and Chasing Amy and Dogma.
Okay, I kind of like Jersey Girl.
Jersey Girl's not bad. It's not great. It's not bad. It's not as bad and malign. I think it got sucked into that whole J-Lo, Ben Affleck thing, which is so funny because I watched that Diddy documentary this weekend, the 4-parter on Netflix. It was one of those things. Everyone in the house, we got the flu shot and COVID shot thing, so everybody was like kind of sick, like it was that fake sick for a day. So we're like, all right, we got to watch like crap TV while we're home sick. So I watched the Diddy documentary. The most fascinating thing to come out of it was the notion that he manipulated TikTok and influencers to carry the water of his messaging more than anyone watching a CNN or CBS, which is very similar to what we talked about with the Paramount stuff.
Yeah. Diddy did? Like he changed all the influence of that?
Him and his team were leveraging that to try to get the messaging out there around free Diddy and what the narrative is, rather than relying on more traditional forms of media.
Wow. Tried to be the cutting edge, but nobody gives a crap about Diddy.
Cammy Star points out that Dogma is getting released on Blu-ray tomorrow. As someone who owns the DVD and the two disc edition, I'm excited that it'll be available. It was tied up for a long time because of legal rights issues. Again, we're back to legal rights being incredibly important.
Wow, how about that? Yes, indeed. Well, let's talk about what happened on Raw.
Damn it, fine.
We had Gunther kick things off and cut a promo. No sign of R-Truth, but I think the promo itself was pretty convincing, but kind of boilerplate at the same time. What were your thoughts, Robert?
Super boilerplate. I felt like I was watching a video game. By the way, it was not bad. It was a totally fine. I'm the heel. I'm going to beat you. I'm going to crush the hustle, loyalty, and respect out of you. Um, and then you're going to hit the showers. And with that accent, that sounds more menacing than it should. But it was completely fine. Nobody is not tuning in for John Cena's last match on Saturday.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
At the same time, nobody who watched that promo who was on the fence is now going, you know what? Now I got to watch this.
Mm-hmm. Right. It didn't like really sway me either way. I kind of wish there would have been maybe a little bit more to add to the gravitas of it all and everything to that. But yeah,
dude needs to bring back the suit.
Yeah, I agree. I think there just needs to be a little bit. I wanted more. I did want more. We had Io Sky. She took on Kairi Sane and got the win. Were you okay with this for a match?
It was fine. The match itself was okay. It was one of those, it felt like a foregone conclusion. And just like we knock our friends over at AEW, it's like, this is a great way to build up to a War Games match we already saw. But I get that we're trying to build that everybody's going after the tag titles. So let's all have them wrestle in singles matches, whether it was this or Lyra Valkyria and Roxanne Perez later on in the show.
Yeah. I mean, fine match. I love like Io Sky and Kairi Sane. They're so talented. So that from that, the physical and visual perspective was great, I thought. But yeah, I mean, it's a good match, I thought. Next up, Robert, we had Logan Paul attacking Rey Mysterio. Let me say this. These backstage segments, they're fine, but it's also running the thing of like, hey, they're not acknowledging the cameraman, and there's a little of that disconnect. And again, I talk about like the Logan Paul coming in and being like, hey, did you see Rey Mysterio slap me last week? You guys haven't talked since then? It's just something that constantly bugs me, Robert. And I think
I guess it's for so many years I'm just sort of used to the invisible cameraman, but I also think that what kind of works is the notion that Logan Paul is, as a YouTuber, someone who's always being filmed and there's always cameras around him.
Sure.
That, yeah, of course there'll just be people filming him at all times because they're just filming him at all times.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I just... like Bronson and Braun walk away and then he shares a private conversation with Paul in front of a camera. It just, I don't know. It just seems like a little bit of a disconnect for me.
That notwithstanding, I do like the idea that they're at least acknowledging, Logan Paul is part of the vision, but he's very much like the weak link. Like he is the guy that we're sort of stuck with.
I have no qualms with the story aspect of it all. I think that is pretty fascinating. Logan Paul feels a little bit like inferior to the rest of the group, and I like that. But
so all Jake says, Dom, it's not real. There's a thing, though, within the confines of a universe, whatever that is, there are rules that exist within it. So if all of a sudden you throw those out in any form or fashion, it becomes disjointed for the viewer. Cheers was a scripted television show. If all of a sudden one of the episodes, Norm peels off his skin and he's an alien, you'd be like, wait, what? Right. That's kind of the thing. It's like you suspend reality. That's why they always say that. And you take that ride when there's something that feels weird, even within the world of weird. You're a little bit like, I don't get what's going on here. We felt this a lot more during the Attitude Era, where guys were, trying to embalm one another, and the cameraman's just filming it.
Right? Yeah.
Well, we got Murder coming up, brought to you by Castrol GTX.
Certainly, yes, it's not real, but neither is Breaking Bad. Neither are any of the shows I watch. But I like
whoa. Having been, I don't know if you've been to Albuquerque.
I have not been to Albuquerque. So.
That's supposedly very, very real life.
Mm-hmm.
Other big beats and moments that occurred on Raw, they certainly went out of their way to just murder the baby faces.
Yes. Which one are you talking about exactly? But yes.
Well, the Vision took out Rey Mysterio and LA Knight.
Yes.
So it feels like, in part, hey, we want to get rid of anyone that may be an ally of CM Punk. Mm-hmm. And we want to establish the Vision as this new dominant stable on Monday Night Raw, which is okay, except... do you remember when Rey Mysterio and LA Knight were part of War Games?
Oh, yes.
Do you remember how LA Knight and Rey Mysterio are vocal allies of CM Punk?
Of course.
Remember how Jey Uso was on Raw last night and nobody bothered to touch him, and now he's just back as a tag team guy?
Correct.
It's one of those things where, again, if had I been sitting in the room, you raise your hand and you're like, hey, Unreal cameras, let's pause this for a minute so we don't make Hunter not look like the smartest guy. And then it's, hey, Paul, make this make sense to me. I get Logan Paul is going after Rey Mysterio when Rey Mysterio has a storyline in place right now going up against Dominic.
Yes.
Fine. The LA Knight of it all, it was like a one-night babyface push. He saves Rey. He chases off the bad guys. He demands the match. He has the match. He loses the match. He gets attacked by the mystery attacker. Then they completely murder him to end Raw in the way that when it happened to our friend of the show, Ricochet was like dead and gone.
Mm-hmm.
This maybe felt like LA Knight's going away for a little bit. But by the way, if LA Knight's back on next week, huge miss on their part.
Well, Robert, other big takeaways. Stephanie Couture, and looks like going to be Raquel Rodriguez.
Dude,
like that.
The way that they sent Nikki Bella out there to get murdered. I don't want to say that was a parting gift to John Cena, but Nikki Bella coming out there and then just opening the trap door and being like, nah, just kidding. Loved it. Such a fan. Just Raquel just flattening her, ending her day. Sold American style, to quote Alex Greenfield. But big time stuff. Big fan of that. At the end of Raw, it's clear that they feel, all right, we're getting to January 5th where it's going to be CM Punk and Braun Breaker. This week is clearly about the John Cena show. Next Monday, maybe it'll be a John Cena tribute show, and we'll get Rey Mysterio versus Logan Paul. Then maybe 2 weeks they feel is sufficient time for LA Knight to be healed up, and we get him versus Bronson Reed or a tag match or something like that to get us to the January 5th episode of Raw. I'm going to look at the calendar real quick for Mondays. So they're in a weird sort of position because there is no egregious holiday episode of Raw this year. So Monday, it's 15th, 22nd, 29th. None of those are Christmas, New Year's, where no one's necessarily going to be home. But at the same time, they are trying to wind down to the end of the year. And they know that people are, in theory, doing stuff with their families. We'll see where they ultimately find the value, but it's kind of, hey, January 5th is when we start up again. Like, let's go on winter break. There's no homework. Take the next 2 weeks off.
Right. And this Raw definitely had that feeling to it. Very much it did. Real quick, Robert, what do you think of the tag team division? They jobbed out War Raiders after promoting them briefly in a video package. Then we just get pivoted right to Jay and Jimmy, who immediately take out the New Day. I like that the Usos are back in the tag division, but to your point, the storyline perspective is a little out of whack.
Well, what was interesting was if you paid attention to Jimmy's promo, it was piling on and piling on and piling on. So I don't know necessarily how plugged in the Usos are, where the idea was like, hey, Jay was taking L after L after L after L, failed at being world champion, failed to regain the world title, failed to win at War Games. So now we're desperate and we're back to being a tag team. So we will see. At the same time, we will see who the mystery masked man is. He definitely seems spry enough to be Chris Jericho. Yeah, that's where we're at. And Dom will be with you for the remainder of today, and I'll be back tomorrow, as I am every Monday through Friday at noon Eastern on a plethora of platforms, including WWCreative_ISH X account, the @SEScoops X account, the @Dominic D'Angelo X account, and on YouTube, Rumor and Innuendo Podcast Heat, and ad-free show. Show is not over. However, I didn't want to make Dom have to remember all that. It's why I'm here. So, Dom, I will wish you best of luck in your future endeavors.
Thank you, Robert. Peace up. A-Town down. He probably was like, what the hell? All right. Yes. Any further thoughts on Raw that I had? Let me think here. No, just I'm critical of AEW. I can also be critical of Raw. Just don't really think this is a good Raw. Just don't. some aspects I like, but like again, I'm a big the fact that I like in the throughout the course of this year and a lot of 2024, I was really appreciative of WWE paying attention to detail and making connecting dots and having things make a little bit more sense and certain aspects like that. But it seems like some of that has been gone to the wayside, or maybe it's just become a bigger highlight for me just because the product maybe doesn't feel as big as it did in the previous year. You know, you think about what was going down over the course of last year's WrestleMania. Before then, Cena being a heel, and then just the potential Rock, what his involvement was, and then nothing happening from that. So I do think there's that kind of shift, on an unfortunate shift for WWE. But once that gets removed, you know, you give the I mean, you try to give the benefit of the doubt, but there's certain aspects too that's just like there's a lot of stuff that could be buttoned up with this product at the same time. Not saying that it's a bad show. I don't this particular episode was not that good in my opinion. And but I do think, you know, it does make a highlight of what WWE has to really try to focus on. They're getting away from what was intriguing about the product over the past like year and a half. And, that was attention to detail with a lot of stuff with your sub storylines, your mid card stuff, and anything like there's still a presence there, but it does not seem like the attention to detail is there as much, if that makes sense. Monsters Night. Oh, that's right. They had Monsters Inc. as the Monday Night Football collaboration last night. Let's see. Take a look at some of this stuff. Alt Jake says Jay turning heel before Christmas. I think I'm kind of for that. Yeah, I would. I do think I'm sick of the yeeting. I'm sick of. I mean, like if you're making money off of it, it's certainly one thing, and I could completely understand them keeping Jay heel from that or babyface from that perspective. But maybe there's some money in Jimmy being a babyface. Not that I want to see Jimmy and Jay fight each other again, but maybe you can do something a little different with Jimmy at the same time and make it a little bit more refreshing. But I mean, then you just try to think about who are some of your top baby faces moving forward. You got CM Punk, you got Rey Mysterio, you got Roman Reigns, Cody. This is like from across the different realm, both brands. You need some other new faces. Maybe Ricky Saints comes into the fold here. Cody is facing Obafemi at Saturday night's main event. A good way to introduce Ricky Saints onto the main roster and get a new babyface in the mix. Kimmy Star's right. Time to misbehave for the sitter. I'm like the substitute teacher. That's what I am more so. It's just like, okay, nobody gives a crap. Let's see. Pooh. This Pouzier monster says WWE blows. You want to give any more further reasoning as to why you think that? I gave some of the reason why I don't think the product is at its ultimate best right now. I do think, like people have been, if you've seen online, I'm sure you have, the constant promotion of how modern wrestling sucks. And then like you see huge thumbnails with Stevie Richards and Dutch Mantel, all a part of the James Romero network. So it's like he does the same segments with these different personalities and makes basically the same thumbnail. It's pretty hilarious, and that just low-hanging fruit stuff. Look, am I a huge fan of how wrestling is portrayed today in the modern era? Not really. Even though I have taken my exceptions with the Jim Cornette realm because of Brian Last and all that stuff, I certainly subscribe to Cornette's philosophy more so than I do the modern wrestling take. So I do lean more towards, old school heel babyface classic storytelling. You don't have to do a whole lot of crazy moves to capture my interest kind of vibe. Like I want a good heel, a good babyface, good characters, and then something to fight for. That's what I want. Um, I do think so like there is that lot of negative notion to really embrace that modern wrestling stinks. And hey, guess what? Things change. It changed for people from the 70s to the 80s, changed for people from the 80s to the 90s, from the 90s to the 2000s, and now to the modern era. So it is not totally built for me. I understand that. It's built for a younger, more immediate audience with a less attention span. And we're all losing our attention spans because of this stuff right here and because of this stuff that you're watching right now, even me, 30 minutes. So I just don't think that's necessarily a huge part of I just think that's an unfair thing to say is modern wrestling sucks. Now, do I like I said, not my cup of tea, but at the same time too, it is not supposed to be my whole cup of tea. There's something for somebody else. And and like yes, could it be done better? 100% it could be. 100%. But yeah, does it suck? No, you know what sucked? 2018 WWE sucked. 2019 WWE sucked. Like there was a lot more worse times than what we're going through right now. So I mean, for people to say, okay, like Pussy Monster, oh my god. All right, you know what? I don't kick anybody out, but I'm kicking this guy out. See you later, buddy. Boom. God, he's not adding anything productive. Yes, like that Pussy Monster guy saying. Kevin Kellum chimes in saying wrestling blows is lazy, no color you burn take. Exactly. Give me some context of why you think that. That's one thing. But if you're just going to say that stuff, you don't add into the conversation. I'm totally fine with you having your opinion and saying that wrestling sucks if you think so, but give me your reasons why. Like, I want something else than that. 2018 WWE was a chore wrestling old head. It definitely was. Yeah, see, Cammy Star even says it. Wrestling was never geared to me, but I watch it anyways, right? It's not gonna. That's the thing. Like, I don't think if things were for me, people would be coming out to like Christopher Cross as their entrance music, and like we'd be having a character that's played off of Dean Martin. That's what it would be. That would be my cup of tea. All right, but it's not for me. Totally. There's some aspects I pick and choose that I enjoy, but I watch it. I take stuff that I like about it. I'd be a complete liar if I didn't say I enjoy what like Dominic Mysterio is doing. If CM Punk is on television, I'm definitely tuning in. John Cena, this whole aspect of seeing him the farewell tour, it's kind of neat. It's neat to watch. Overall, not completely totally executed the way I wanted it to be or anything like that. But again, stuff happens. Things aren't perfect, like John Cena said either. Yeah, so yeah, trying to think. I have to have a hard out here in 30 minutes actually because I have to meet my landlord. Everything's fine, everyone. I'm not getting kicked out. I'm just paying my rent. So, but I do have to catch my landlord right at 12:30. But let me see if there's anything I want to touch upon real quick before I close out. I'm gonna take a look at the dirt sheets here. If there's anything fascinating to chat about. Seeing if there is anything. Not really. I like what they're doing with Braun Breaker. I'll just say that. I didn't like positioning him in the right manner, I think is good. I think you will have some aspects where that comes in to a little I think that will play off in the grand scheme of it all for Braun Breaker being a bigger star. So you're going to be in the right position for that. Devin Dowling, get a spare key while you're at it. I know. You're definitely right about that. Wannabe Breeze says wrestling across the board is always up and down. When it's good, it's good, and when it's bad, it can be good in a bad way. No matter what, wrestling is one constant form of entertainment I watch. Right? Think about it. Think about it. 6 years ago, what position was pro wrestling in? It was in a horrible spot. You just had WWE. You had TNA was fine. NWA I don't exactly remember when Power started taking off, but that was such a refreshing alternative to WWE, and I was really getting invested in that. But then at the same time, so we were in a horrible spot 6 years ago, really bad. I think the lowest point I've ever seen it as a wrestling fan, as a matter of fact. And so I've been a fan since 96, roughly. So, it's the lowest I've ever seen it. And so now you got two products at least. TNA is going to get into a bigger and better position. So things are looking pretty good right now. I think we're taking a little bit of things for granted, so to speak, like Pussy Monster was. So I thank you for your lack of input. Let's see. 2019 was Power. I still watch every Tuesday, 8 p.m. on Roku. Does it still hold up, Devin? It's missing so much, in my opinion. I was so bummed when they got rid of they had such great talents. Ricky Starks, you had James Storm, you had Eddie Kingston, you had Homicide, you had oh my gosh, I know I miss it. Eli Drake, remember that guy? And the presentation was so cool. Like just the lack of music, I thought was such a neat thing. And just that intimate studio environment, really, really good. And Nick Aldis too was there. Geez, the champ. So it was good stuff, and it's unfortunate that some of that ventured away from it all. Oh wow, Devin Dowling still loves it. Hell yeah, Thrilly Billy is the new world champion. Wow. Okay, is he the hillbilly? Thrill Billy, yeah, he's the hillbilly guy. I wish I would just put it on YouTube again. Is it on YouTube? Maybe I'll have to watch it again. Devin Dowling says, to be honest, not a bad show. I'm optimistic too to see how TNA positions themselves in the new year. What will be different. I don't think maybe they shouldn't change a whole lot, but at the same time too, I would really tighten up on some things. I would make note of what is positive, what has been good about your product, and I would take a real deep dive into seeing what maybe you've been taking missteps with. Not that I am somebody that can give that input because I haven't watched it regularly on a weekly basis recently. So I can't really necessarily give that kind of input. But I will say, I would be very careful of who you make your stars, be selective, and position them in the right manner. Learn from other promotions' mistakes. What did AEW do wrong? What did NWA do wrong? What has WWE doing differently and wrong that is not ultimate for them? Hold on. I'm going to get the cat. Razor, what are you doing? Come on. You chewing on something weird? All right. Jeez, oh man. I guess it's time for me to end the show. Well, a couple minutes. We'll give a couple minutes. I haven't heard from my landlord yet. Oh, there's music now? Oh, see, I kind of liked it without the music. I thought it was a nice touch. Tony Gong gives a different perspective. To be fair, they're taking us fans for granted too. Yes, they are. 100%. I agree with you on that. Less shows per match, much more commercials. Not only that, Tony, to add to your point, yes, they're pricing out their fans. Big point. Pricing out their fans. They are making these events more exclusive, less occurring. WWE doesn't have as many house shows now. It just is a point of it. And yeah, the aspect too. Royal Rumble being in Saudi Arabia, huge miss. It's going to feel like an even bigger miss once that comes around. I think that's not something that has been talked about quite as much yet, but I think it's going to play a big, big role here coming up. And it's going to be a rough realization for some wrestling fans, WWE fans, and everything like that. So I'm 100% with you, Tony Gong. Yes, we're taking some of this wrestling for granted. Absolutely, for sure, I think, if you look back 6 years. But to your point, 100% they're taking us for granted too. 100% they are. And that's several promotions. That's both promotions, I think. I really do think so. So yeah, I think they found a comfort zone. They found a money making zone, but how long is that tide going to be at high where they can ride it? That some at some point or another, it's going to crash down, and you have flooded your market and not in a good manner. Look, Cammy Star even says it right here. Not going to watch the Saudi Rumble. It's going to feel so. I love the Rumble. The Rumble's such a blast. But yes, like, am I going to be as enticed to watch it? Will I watch it? Probably, I guess, but like, I'm not going to feel really great about it. It's just not. Um, Alt Jake also, that's all live events. Yes, correct. All live events, everything is pricier and will continue to be. Alt Jake also adds concerts, sports, theater, all have gone up as well. It's a factual. It's high. Yeah, it's very true. Like, everything has been high priced. I can't go to concerts now. It just feels like too much money to go to even like a regular, like, not local show, but like a lesser known artist. Even those tickets are like $40 to just general admission, and that's like, wow. I want to see this person, but do I need to see this person? So that's a fact. Same time, wrestling was built for everybody. I think that's what made wrestling special, is that it was a reasonable price point for a lot of people. And now that I'm speaking for WWE in this regard, because AEW has reasonable ticket prices, TNA has reasonable ticket prices, so WWE is the entity I'm talking about with this. So I think they're taking a lot of the fans for granted at this moment in time. Understand you're making money at this point, but at some point that bubble's going to burst, and where are you going to be after that fact? Wrestling old head quotes famous Rick Derringer song, "When it comes crashing down and it hurts inside." Exactly. My wife and I went to concerts 3 to 5 times a month until last year. Now it's 3 to 5 times a year. 100%. I went to a bunch of concerts that I think in 2024. I went to a lot of different concerts. Now, maybe I went to 2. Maybe. I don't even know. Herb Albert, I saw in May. He was great. 90 years old, playing the trumpet like crazy. Amazing. All right, I got to go. My landlord is probably going to be here at any moment in time, and I have to give him his rent money. So, like Robert said, we'll see you tomorrow here on Rumor and Innuendo. Thank you all for tuning in. Thank you, Kevin Kellum, for chiming in on the chat. Alt Jake, Cammy Star, Wrestling Old Head. Was Triple E not here today? Devin Dowling. So many good names in here. Jeff Hanger also in the chat, going by Wannabe Breeze because of the YouTube thing now. But thank you all for tuning in, and it'll be fun. We'll talk a little Dynamite tomorrow, and we'll be back. Same bat time, same bat channel. Peace up, A-Town down. Boom. Boom. Oh, you still got to hang out with me for a little bit. Damn it, Don.